Hey, what's going on, guys? You're now watching the greatest channel that has ever existed. My name is 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘕𝘰. I can't even talk. And I really appreciate you guys for being here with me. Speaking of not being able to talk, there was a lot of arguments going on. There was a huge Twitter fight or Twitter discussion with Pulsechain not coming out, with PulseX not coming out yet, Richard Hart not really knowing what he's talking about when it comes to his devs, or maybe he did know what he was talking about when he was coming to his devs, but he was pretending as if he didn't. No one really knows. And this was in a Twitter space that was supposed to be all about Zen crypto. It has started a lot of beef and stuff. 𝘰𝘰𝘯𝘕𝘰, a very famous crypto YouTuber, came through and he asked, "Why is Richard Hart lying about XYZ?" And then that started a whole bunch of other different discussions, a whole bunch of other different debates. And we're going to get right into it first. But before that, I'm going to read some comments from my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. Griff Hall, he says dollar cost average buying. And yes, this is with the debate that Richard Hart had maybe like 6-7 months ago with a guy from the Bitcoin community. He's just agreeing that the best way to get a lot of assets, and this is not just with crypto, this is with stocks too, is just a dollar cost average into the assets. Buy like $50 every paycheck, or maybe $150 every paycheck if you got it like that. Next, we have 𝘊𝘰𝘯𝘵𝘰. He says, nice insight. This is the insight with the same discussion, the same debate that he had with the Bitcoin community. Okay, he was saying that I had a lot of nice insights with it. I like you guys. I like my followers. You're very, you hold me accountable in the good like this and in the bad. Next, we have 𝘊𝘰𝘯𝘵, who's been a longtime follower. He says, your channel needs more attention. And I said, I agree. Thank you. Tell your friends and family to follow me. You know, tell me what I should do for my channel, what I shouldn't do for my channel to help improve the subscriber count. I already have about 1,100 followers now. I got 100 followers in like 2 weeks. Really appreciate you guys for that. Next, we have 𝘉𝘰𝘳𝘊𝘰𝘯 that says, if Pulsechain ever will be launched, Zen on Pulsechain will be worthless. Yes, and this is kind of what this exact video is talking about. I replied to him, I don't think it will be worth less, but I think it will be worth a less amount. Okay. Yes. Just like all other cryptos on Ethereum proof of work are worth a less amount on the proof of work version than the actual Ethereum real version, Ethereum 2.0. I think that's the same exact thing that's going to happen with Pulsechain. So Zen on Pulsechain is not going to be worth as much as Zen on the regular Ethereum. And then finally, we have 𝘕𝘰𝘯𝘰𝘮. He says, which time ETH fee low? And then I replied, it depends. It's normally at the lowest between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, so let's get into the Twitter space and let's hear what's going on. Hey, Jack. This is Benito.
Hey.
You might recognize that voice as yours truly.
I love your videos, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Don't you think the best YouTube channel ever created?
Of course. It's the greatest one that's ever existed ever in the entire world.
Exactly. That's why I love it.
So a question, flash loans, when it eventually comes out, it will allow you to do 2 transactions at the same time. Like, for example, it'll allow you to redeem your Zen NFTs and then use the Zen from that Zen NFT to pay the Ethereum gas fees.
Right.
Okay. Are you worried that, like, maybe when you let's say I do a very small Zen NFT, like a Ruby Zen NFT, are you worried that the value that I get from the Zen that's released from that Zen NFT is not enough to pay the gas fees? Because I know during the bull market, the gas fees are going to be crazy, like maybe $100 just to redeem it. Is there a way to handle this? Or so I'm pretty much asking him, what happens when Ethereum is so expensive, when these transaction fees are so dramatic during the bull run that happened at, the end of 2017 and also happened at the end of 2021? What's going to happen when we try to redeem these Zen NFTs and get the Zen out of them?
That certainly is a possibility, where you're saying that there will be not enough Zen to be worth claiming. Yeah. If that's the case, then, I mean, it really depends on your term. So if your term is 400 days, it is very likely that it will be worth to be claimed, but not necessarily within a month, maybe not even 2 months right now, just because gas fees are higher. So, but I don't see gas and Ethereum rally so hard in the next 400 days to make it completely impossible to extract value.
Okay, understood. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So he pretty much had two answers. He's saying what we all know so far. If you're going to do a mint, you need to mint out at least 80 days, 120 days in the future, or else it's not going to be worth it at all. Don't waste your time. And secondly, the bull run is not going to happen until 2024. 2024 is not 400 days from now. It's like 800 days from now. So it's still a long, long time from now. And I'm talking about the end of 2024 is when the bull run is going to start happening. So we still have a lot of time to go.
Well, guys, I'm pretty disappointed because I thought this was going to be about Pulsechain, vampire attack, and why Jack thinks Pulsechain's not going to launch. I'm pretty disappointed in this space.
Hey,
you said this space was going to be, at the beginning of the Staker class, said this space was going to be about Jack and Pulsechain and what he thinks about Richard Heart lying about Pulsechain. And I didn't hear any of that. So very disappointing space.
Well, we didn't have any good questions. So maybe you can leave.
Why is Richard Heart lying about Pulsechain?
Why is he lying about Pulsechain?
Yes.
Specifically what?
He's acting like he doesn't know what any of the code is. Why is he doing that?
It is my personal observation that I think he is potentially have abandoned the idea to do it.
Okay, straight up out the gate, Trayvon, who was the first person that was talking there, says that Richard Heart was lying about not knowing about the details in the code of Pulsechain. Now, I don't know if Richard Heart is necessarily lying, but he might be exaggerating about how little he knows. Pulsechain crypto code is very complicated, extremely complex. I read it all the time and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm a software developer and I'm still like, it takes forever to learn. So Richard Heart, although he claims he's not a developer, he's been heavily involved with coding and software development in the past. So he kind of knows how to read basic code. So for him to say that he doesn't understand the code, he might honestly be talking the truth. Now, Jack's response is that Richard is just lying about releasing the code, releasing Pulsechain in the first place, that he's just trying to bide his time to ask for forgiveness or something, or I'm not really sure what he says, but he's saying that Pulsechain is not going to come out. That's what Jack really believes. And to be honest, I don't know what to say. I can't really defend Richard Heart anymore because we've been strung along for such a long, long time. So there's no way I can really defend what he says. Hopefully it comes out. Let's keep our fingers crossed because I invested lots and lots of money into Pulsechain, but I don't know. You know what? I have an update from Richard Heart actually that I'm going to show near the end of this video. So stay tuned.
Just because of what I have seen on the conference the other day, the questions that were asked, he couldn't really come up with anything that's any sort of roadmap for Pulsechain, which is unfortunate because I have a lot of friends that actually were eagerly waiting for this thing to launch. Why?
Yeah, we all are.
If he's lying about it, I mean, we have no idea whatever can happen to a person's personal life or whether he's lying or not. We just do not know. What we do know is that it isn't coming anytime soon, doesn't appear to be, and it appears to be that he's not interested. Now, we can only speculate why he's not interested. Perhaps he's worried that the hex price will dump if it launches in a bear market. So that is one speculation. The other speculation could be the SEC now has both Pulse and hex on the radar, and maybe they have advised them not to do anything until this case is settled, which is also a possibility. So things change.
Did you say it's impossible for him to not know? Like when he was trying to translate the code, do you think it's impossible for him to not know what he was reading?
What he was reading specifically,
like when he was going through the code, like it seemed like he didn't know what the hell he was reading or how to translate it. From my knowledge, if you don't understand something, you can't explain it. So is it impossible?
I watched that and can answer that probably if you don't mind.
I want Jack.
All right. Well,
I think he wants me to answer it. So here's the thing: if you're a project lead for a project, you have to know what's going on, even if you do not understand the code. So the questions that were asked at the conference were not about the code. It was about just the roadmap, and the roadmap isn't coming. And his body language and what he said told me, and this is my personal opinion, I could be wrong, it told me that he is not even talking to his developers. Maybe there are no developers.
There's no communication from Pulsechain's leader, Richard Heart, to the open community. The community that invested $1.6 billion to him. And I know it's a sacrifice, no expectation from the work of others, blah, blah, blah. We all know that's bullshit. Sorry, it's bullshit. We all just say that because we don't want to pay taxes through our SEC regulations. But it's bullshit. We all have expectations from the work of others. We all have expectations from Richard Hart. So because we invest $1.6 billion to you, it's not like we're complaining. All we want is open communication. Yes, software development is hard. Please show us the steps of why software development is hard. Please be very, very open and candid with all of us, especially when you promised that it was going to come out 99% chance in May of 2021. May of 2021 was 8 months ago. If it was about to come out in 2 weeks, how does it magically go from 2 weeks to now 8 months, right? Listen, I don't know why it goes from 2 weeks to 8 months. And that's why open communication needs to happen, like detailed open communication. Just be like, oh, it's way harder than I thought it was going to be. Oh, well. That's why a lot of people are losing faith in community. That's why this Twitter space, which had like 300, 400 people, that almost all of them sacrificed for Pulsechain, they decided to come to a Zen coin and talk about Pulsechain because we don't have any form of communication. Also, like Jack said, we don't even really know if Richard Hart is lying because he has said one thing and flip-flop in the past and back and forth in the past. I'm not calling him a liar, but I'm saying that his words are not constantly the same from month to month. We all have friends that have sacrificed for Pulsechain. I told my friends to sacrifice for Pulsechain. Thank God they didn't do it, because if they did, I'll be so embarrassed by it. They're not going to listen to anything that I say when it comes to cryptocurrency. A lot of people from my actual YouTube channel, this channel, I really appreciate you guys. They've sacrificed too for Pulsechain when I asked them to sacrifice for Pulsechain, and we still don't have a roadmap of when it's going to come out. It's very embarrassing for all of us to, especially us YouTubers, us people that put out content. It's very embarrassing for us to come out and convince people to help Richard Hart and then for him to not give us an open roadmap. I don't really care if it's going to take a long time. I don't really care if it's complex. I get it. It's hard. I get it. Give us a roadmap. I'm guessing this is how long it's going to take. I'm guessing it's going to come out in June of this year. And these are the steps that we're taking so that we can release it in June of this year. It's okay. We can understand it. We forgive you. It's okay. Be forthright with us.
Who knows? Maybe the Ethereum 2, which is the proof of stake, is a lot more complicated and they need to start from square one. Now, if I were to launch a chain, I would say that forget the world's largest airdrop. It already happened on the Ethereum POW. Let's just forget this whole idea about copying the state. If people are worried about hacks not being on the new chain, well, you can airdrop the new hacks on the new chain just by looking at the hacks contract on Ethereum. It's actually very easy. It can be done in about 5 minutes. So nothing really needs to be copied state-wise. So I think this whole idea of giving free stuff or a copy of stuff you have on Ethereum seemed like an attractive idea for marketing, but ultimately it has no value. And we see that, for example, USDC on Ethereum POW has no value. So why would it have value on Pulsechain? Perhaps he thought it would have value, but maybe he realized that it has no value and therefore they're desperately trying to come up with new ideas in terms of what to do. Now, we do know that there's quite a bit of money in the sacrifice pools that were supposed to be used on Pulsechain and whatnot. However, with the news about the SEC, this makes it harder to do because that makes Pulse pretty much a security. In other words, Pulse was given to people who gave money to some wallet, and now this money will be used to generate more value. If that is the case, the SEC will have no problem ruling that Pulse is a security and was sold to the investors. So this whole sacrifice idea is not really true sacrifice. It's actually people are full of expectations, and nobody's fooled that just because we call it a sacrifice, it really is an investment with the anticipation of profit. If SEC has engaged with Richard and told him, hey, if you do this, we don't even have to do much and to deem it a security, so you may as well just stop everything. And so that could be the situation. So I don't think he's lying. I think he's not saying certain things that are specifically personal and private to him. And I would say his hands are pretty much tied. Though I would say that if it was me, I would just say, hey, look, SEC is now has us on the radar. We have to do something else. So I would have said that, but he's not saying it, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So it's a personal choice.
So Jack right there is saying that Richard Hart may be delaying the coin or not talking about Pulsechain because he may be pivoting because he didn't realize how difficult it is to create Pulsechain, or maybe he's trying to do something else that may break the SEC rules, or maybe he's going to eventually, create a totally new, different chain that doesn't just copy the state of Ethereum. Maybe. The problem is, we don't know. There's no open communication. None of us know anything that's going on right now. So we just have to guess. And all of us could be wrong. We don't know. We don't even know if we're wrong. I don't even know if we're talking bullshit right now because there is no communication and we can't really trust exactly what he says. It's really unfortunate. Finally, he said he doesn't really think that he's lying. And it's true too. I don't know if he's lying or not. I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know if he's lying. But he's just holding it just in case he has to change his mind or something.
Do you think a good idea would be to abandon the sacrifice, just send everybody their funds back, and then just use Hex as the gas? Would that be SEC free?
That's what I would do.
Nice. That's what I told him to do in the first place. But okay, I'm satisfied now. Thanks for this answer, man.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if the money is still there and there are any questions on whether this money has been collected by issuing an unregistered security that you're going to go to jail for, I would just say, okay, it was wrong. We had different ideas. We were misled. Whatever the excuse might be, and I would just send everybody the sacrifice money back.
Yeah, I agree. At this point, it seems as if Pulsechain is going to be delayed again. At first, I was saying it's coming out April and May. Now we're like, we don't know. We don't know what's going to come out. Maybe this year, maybe next year. If it comes out next year, just give me my money back. I don't want it. I don't want to wait. It's okay. I know that sounds crazy. And let's say that it comes out in 2024 and it 10x's, it 100x's. That's fine. I can take the money and invest it in other coins like Zen or like Gala Games. Those are all going to 10x. Those are all going to probably 100x in the bull run. We could have used our money for other things. I have bills to pay. We all have bills to pay, right? So hopefully it comes out in April or May, but if rumors are saying that's going to come out next year, just find a way to give us back our coins. And I know it's probably 99% of chance that this is never going to happen. He's never going to give us back our coins, or especially not the USD value of our coins from the original sacrifice. But that would be the best solution. However, I think Richard Hart had a lot of buzz in his ear. His ear was itching. He knew that people were talking about him and talking about Pulsechain. So then he decided to come out with a tweet randomly out of nowhere as soon as the Twitter space ended. That showed a screenshot of the V3 testnet and saying that it's coming along and it's about to show up. In fact, it says just some Pulsechain teaser. It's working on private V3 testnet. Yeah, so the V3 testnet is currently working. I'm guessing they have to do a couple more test with it to make sure that it works. So that means that V3 is probably going to come out soon. But we had V2 come out. Pulsechain was probably going to come out soon right after V2. Probably going to come out soon after V1. Didn't happen. We have the PulseX website working right now. We all have Pulsechain right now in our wallets right now that you sacrifice from. All of these things. And Pulsechain still doesn't have a release date. That being said, the fact that he came out with this tweet calmed a lot of our fears. I felt a little bit better after he came out with this tweet. You know why? Because it's communication. And I'm going to go more and more into this in my second part of this video. And I'm telling you all this because I thank you, I love you, I appreciate you. Richard Hart, please give us an accurate roadmap. Please watch this video, okay?